The Xbox Game Showcase 2024 was one of, if not the best game showcase I have ever seen. With such a high bar set, it's fair to say that expectations were really high going into this year's showcase today, June 8th. Xbox own a lot of studios now, so there never really is an absence of things to show, but was there enough new games to show, or were these all just updates to games already announced? This was a compact show with no real breaks, so I have to applaud Xbox again on their pacing, as they really seem to have their showcases nailed down. I will go through my personal highlights, but also an overview of everything that was shown. Kicking off the show in similar fashion to last year was the game that has a deep dive following the showcase with The Outer Worlds 2. This particular trailer was focusing on that great Obsidian humor with the capitalist at Auntie's Choice having an out-of-touch rich person's back and forth. We have seen a lot of this game already and it looks really good. Avowed is one of my favorite games of this year, and Obsidian always have great dialogue options. My main takeaway from this new trailer was the big fat gun that quite literally evaporates people from existence. If you want to see more of this before it drops on October 29th, IGN has done a deep dive in the month of May, and there was a whole stream showing it off straight after today's showcase. Unexpectedly in next was High on Life 2. The original was a game I had a fun time with back in 2022. There was some skateboard traversal during the opening cinematic, but I'm not sure if that is incorporated into the actual gameplay. What we did see in game though was a few new guns that we didn't see in the first title, and a lot more alien killing. Weirdly though, there was no humor in this, which was a focal point of the first game. I'm sure there will be though, and we won't have long to find out, as this is out in winter 2025. Plague Tale is getting a prequel in 2026 with Resonance, a Plague Tale legacy, set in a different part of the world and had glimpses of Greek mythology. Then we got a look at the previously announced Xbox and Asus handheld device. It looks pretty cool and can play natively via the cloud or remotely, and can access all the Xbox apps as well as the window apps like Steam. There are two variants, with the X being touted as the more powerful and presumably more expensive version. There are no price tags on these yet, but they are coming in holiday 2025. Although Hollow Knight Silksong still doesn't have a release date, it did show up in showcasing these devices, which I'm totally sure the community is going to be completely normal about. Rebel Wolves and Bandai Namco entered the stage with the Blood of Dawnwalker. This is a third-person action vampire game where you can fight with your swords, claws, or even your teeth. There was some impressive traversal segments and the scale looks quite grand. Rebel Wolves are describing it as a dark fantasy RPG, and I am definitely keeping my eye on it. This one releases in 2026. Super Meat Boy is getting another game in 2026, which moves the comedic gore to a 3D space for the very first time. Team Ninja slapped an October 21st release date on Ninja Gaiden 4, and Machine Games announced that the Indiana Jones DLC, The Order of Giants, releases on September 4th. Game Freak also showed up with their new third-person game, Beast of Reincarnation. This was a blend of samurai combat and a world that revolves around machines and nature. This was also a 2026 release. My personal game of the show was Clockwork Revolution. This game from inXile on first reveal gave immersive sim Bioshock vibes. It is so much more than that, as this new showing spotlighted. This game looks hilarious and is very British, which I obviously love. There is a focus on the various gangs that walk the Cockney cobbled streets of Aphelion and how your character interacts with them to survive. Speaking of your character, it is fully customizable with a character creator at the start, which also revealed the RPG elements, as you can choose a backstory and perks to assist with gameplay. There was also a brief showing of a weapon crafting system with lots of bloody shooting combat to go alongside it. The main mechanic of this game is time, and how your enemies can use it to rewrite the world you explore, but also how you can use it to your advantage in combat and traversal. Things can be frozen in place, or things can be rewound or fast forwarded. The trailer shows the rewind being used to pull bullets back out of an enemy, which rips them to shreds. It also rewinds time to revive yourself from a deadly encounter, or rebuild structures to use as cover that were recently destroyed. The fast forward is used to advance someone's life so much that they just turn into a pile of bones. I'm super excited to get hands-on with this game and try out all the neat ways of killing people inXile have come up with. However, I have no idea when that will be, as they just said it will be released in due time, whatever that means. Thought it was crazy that Obsidian Entertainment were releasing 2 massive games this year? Well, it gets even crazier as it turns out that it's actually 3 games as Grounded 2 hits on July 29th. This is using the same teenagers as the first game and is set 2 years later. They have been moved from the garden to a public park, so you can expect the scale to be much larger. Chronos: The New Dawn from Bloober Team had more gameplay here, and it had particular attention to the horror side of the game. This one is coming in fall 2025, so not too much longer to wait. Elder Scrolls Online is getting a new season to nobody's surprise, and then one of my favorite developers showed up. Aphelion is the new game from Don't Nod, and it looks like a tense space exploration game where the playable character is looking for someone. You could feel the desperation and sheer determination oozing out of this trailer, and given that it's Don't Nod, I would expect that the narrative is top class. Pulling from the Xbox wire, Aphelion is a third-person sci-fi adventure from Don't Nod. After crash landing on a frozen planet, astronaut Ariane must navigate brutal terrain and shifting realities to rescue her injured partner Thomas. Blending exploration, traversal, and tense stealth gameplay, Aphelion delivers a cinematic, emotionally charged journey through an uncharted world. Play as both characters to understand the mystery of the planet Persephone in a story grounded in real-world science and made in partnership with the European Space Agency. I can't tell if there is any combat in this game, none was shown, but there was a nod about something extraterrestrial at the end, so there will be more surprises to come when this one releases in 2026. Another really creative game that I want to highlight was There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. There is a lot of different gameplay mechanics at play here. It looks like you are decorating and building in some parts, and then ghost hunting and discovering mysteries in another. There was a lot going on in this trailer, but I thought it looked fantastic. There was also a lot of musical numbers, which makes me think that that will also be a big part of this. Creative games like this are really important today in a world where we see a million of the same games being released every single year. I love to see ones like this shine through. This is a day one get for me when it drops sometime in 2026. Age of Mythology is getting the Japanese pantheon in full, and then we got the world premiere of Mudang Two Hearts. This is described as a third-person tactical shooter based in Korea and releasing in 2026. The trailer was pretty wild for this one, so go and check it out. Planet of Lana 2 Children of the Leaf is a sequel that looks even more beautiful than the first. I never played the first, but this is a cinematic puzzle platformer in a gorgeous art style that strives to be larger than the original. Set in a sci-fi world where the planets, creatures, and machines coexist, there will be dark secrets to discover. I'm sure the narrative will be very moving when it hits in 2026. Fallout 76 got its inevitable airtime by announcing a fishing element to the game, so go check it out for those of you who are screaming for one. Solo Leveling Arise got a 2025 release date for PC, with a 2026 release coming for Xbox. Animo, which was a Pokemon-looking transformation game where you can also skateboard, something like that, is coming in 2026. There was a lot of 2026 releases in this showcase. Tony Hawk appeared to announce the launch trailer for Pro Skater 3 and 4 with a demo dropping today. And then we got back to the good stuff with another world premiere. From the developers of Spiritfarer comes At Fate's End, which looked like a card-based narrative game. The art style was captivating and the gameplay looked super engaging, but I wasn't entirely sure what it was until I went onto the Xbox wire, which says, At Fate's End, an action-adventure game where you fight the ones you love. Wield the legendary sword Asus as Shan, the deft young heiress of the Hemlock clan. Solve intricate narrative puzzles, uncover painful truths, and hone both your blade skills and knowledge to face your estranged siblings in intense emotional duels, and ultimately decide your family's fate. From the award-winning team behind Spiritfarer, At Fate's End weaves tight, visceral action with rich narrative depth, exploring the complicated bonds between brothers and sisters in a world where swords clash and family wounds run deep. Actually, scratch that. I'm still not sure what this game is, but it sounds awesome. Gears of War Reloaded got a promo for its upcoming release in August across all platforms. And then we got the reveal of the Persona 4 remake. This was the biggest tease ever, as we literally got seconds of the updated visuals and no indication of a release date. We did get the name though, which is Persona 4 Revival. Sea of Thieves' new season, The Smugglers League, is dropping on August 17th, and then we got a hard-hitting world premiere. Excuse me, I meant world fucking premiere. Invincible Versus is a 3v3 tag fighting game that looks absolutely brutal. Invincible is a cool universe and it seems like a slam dunk to use it as a setting for a fighting game. Fighting game fans are really eating good at the moment with Street Fighter 6 still going strong, and Marvel Token Fighters announced earlier this week. This one looks to join the fray when it releases in 2026. It finally happened! The big Final Fantasy games are coming to Xbox. With a 1-2 punch, both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy XVI were announced as coming to the platform. Remake hits this winter and 16 is available right now. The last world premiere that I cared about was Double Fine's new game, Keeper. This looks a far ways different from Psychonauts as you play as a lighthouse with legs. Your light beam seems to interact with objects in different ways as the trailer showed the world shifting in this developer's usual psychedelic visuals. Pulling from the Xbox wire, in Keeper you play a walking lighthouse, able to shine a beam of bright light that affects the world around it, with a spirited seabird companion coming along for the ride. The trailer takes us on an epic adventure into a strange, unknowable island, joining the lighthouse on a journey towards the center of the island. We can all go on this journey when Keeper releases on October 17th. Closing the show was Black Ops 7, which I thought was really out of touch. It's just a bit of an anticlimax to have your one last thing as the annualized game that everyone knows is coming out in full without fail. Call of Duty left a little bit of a sour taste at the end, but all in all I thought it was a good showcase. It was never going to live up to the hype of last year, but there was still some excellent games shown. Not to mention a staggering 15 world premieres. The main theme of the show was Xbox Play Anywhere, which every new game shown supports. You can play it on console, on tablet, on handheld, on your phone, anything that supports the Xbox Play Anywhere app. We really are in the future of gaming and I can't wait to try all of these out. The large showcases are sadly over, but we got some great game reveals and announcements that is making my backlog sweat. Overall, I thought both PlayStation and Xbox had a decent showing, with SGF being a little bit disappointing. Why don't you let me know in the comments below what are the game reveals and announcements that made you the most excited this week? Check out the channel for my breakdowns of all the main showcases from this summer, but also for my reviews and spoiler casts. Nintendo is still rumored to have an event this summer, which I will cover if and when that happens, but until then, for everything else casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.